They were eaten barefoot on porches, carried out on metal trays, or served beside fireflies under a slowly setting sun. Then, one by one, they disappeared from our summer tables without a sound. Let's rediscover 25 forgotten summer dinners that defined the season, and why they're worth bringing back before they're lost for good. In the 1950s and 60s, when air conditioning was rare and summer heat was relentless, families often turned garden tomatoes into something both elegant and practical. Chilled tomato aspic salad. Ripe tomato juice was simmered briefly and mixed with unflavored gelatin, then combined with chopped tomatoes, thin sliced onions, celery, herbs, and a touch of vinegar. The mixture was poured into molds, sometimes ring-shaped, sometimes floral, and left to set in the refrigerator until firm and jiggly. Served cold alongside fried chicken, deviled eggs, or grilled pork chops, it brought a refreshing contrast to heavier picnic fare. Many home cooks crowned it with a dollop of mayonnaise or a sprinkling of chopped chives. Kids were fascinated by its wobble. Adults admired its polished appearance and no-cook preparation. Though the rise of fresh salads and global cuisines pushed it aside, tomato aspic once stood proudly on countless summer tables. Taste it again, and you might just rediscover its charm. Cool, colorful, and unmistakably retro. Southern kitchens of the past used what others tossed, watermelon rinds, to create tangy, spiced curries. After slicing off the sweet red flesh, cooks peeled, seeded, and cut the pale rinds into bite-sized pieces. Those were simmered in a pot with sautéed onions, fresh ginger, garlic, chili pepper, a sprinkle of sugar, and a splash of vinegar until the rinds turned translucent and tender. The result? A subtly sweet, pleasantly sour curry that paired beautifully with fried fish, barbecued chicken, or even cold cuts. It elevated summer scraps into something distinct, flavorful, and bright. Some families served it slightly chilled, sprinkling fresh cilantro or scallions on top. Though watermelon rind curry has all but disappeared from modern recipe books, it remains a testament to homegrown creativity and zero-waste cooking. Try it once, and you'll taste a summer you never knew you missed. A dish born from thrift, flavored by heat and vinegar, and served cold under a hazy sunset. Here's a true summer relic that once graced lunch tables and picnic baskets: cottage cheese and pineapple fluff. Think canned pineapple, drained but juicy, folded into an equal amount of creamy cottage cheese, then mixed into softly beaten whipped cream or whipped topping. A handful of mini marshmallows or a spoonful of flavored gelatin might be added, giving the mixture a nostalgic, jiggly texture. It was spooned into small serving bowls, garnished with a pineapple chunk or maraschino cherry, and served cold alongside grilled meats or fried chicken. The sweetness of pineapple danced with the tang of cottage cheese, while marshmallows added whimsy and light fluffiness. It was easy to assemble, required no cooking, and added a chilled, comforting balance to hot summer dinners. Though replaced by elaborate fruit parfaits in many homes, this creamy, protein-rich treat deserves a comeback. One tender spoonful takes you straight back to backyard laughter, checked tablecloths, and the feeling that summer is deliciously simple. Coming soon, a shimmering ice-cold dinner that was surprisingly filling. Stay tuned. Before cucumber gazpacho became trendy, mid-century kitchens often served chilled cucumber soup during scorching summers. Thinly sliced cucumbers were simmered gently in broth, then cooled and blended smooth with a touch of cream or yogurt. Seasoned with dill, garlic, and lemon juice, it was poured into bowls and served ice-cold, often garnished with a cucumber ribbon or sprig of fresh dill. Light, brisk, and refreshing, it was the perfect antidote to humid porches and overheated kitchens. Families loved it because it could be made ahead and stayed chilled in the fridge, freeing up time for barbecues or evening strolls. Kids who normally avoided soup found themselves slurping happily. Though modern chefs have rediscovered cucumber soups in gourmet menus, this simple, homely version, with humble broth, basic seasoning, and zero trendy add-ons, remains largely forgotten. One chilled spoonful is enough to remember that sometimes the coolest dinners need the fewest ingredients. Mid-century summer tables often featured a sweet corn and potato salad, a cold, colorful medley that combined boiled baby potatoes and fresh corn kernels with chopped bell peppers, celery, and a light mayo mustard dressing. Herbs like parsley or chives brought brightness, and sometimes a touch of vinegar added tang. Served alongside grilled meats or hot dogs, This salad balanced heat with creamy sweetness in every bite. It was easy to make in a single bowl, freeing cooks from the stove and heat. Leftovers stayed fresh for packed lunches, too. Ideal for potlucks, it showcased summer vegetables without labor. Though modern menus now overload on kale salads or gourmet slaws, this straightforward, budget-friendly potato-corn combo has virtually vanished. But it speaks to a time when dinners were easy, seasonal, and unpretentious. Want nostalgia on your plate? This one's worth resurrecting. Which old-school salad would you bring back? Comment below. A retro classic, tomato jelly and cheese squares started with flavored aspic. Tomato gelatin set in a shallow pan, topped with cubes of mild cheese like Velveeta or cheddar, and refrigerated until firm. Once set, it was sliced into neat squares and served cold or at room temperature, alongside crusty bread or crisp crackers. It offered a curious mix of savory tart tomato flavor and creamy, melt-in-your-mouth cheese. Popular in church suppers and lunch boxes, it was whimsical, economical, and simple. No cooking required, just mixing and chilling. The juxtaposition of gelatin and cheese might make modern eaters pause, but back then it was considered clever and refreshing. Though tomato aspic has nearly disappeared from modern tables, rediscovering it brings back the spirit of playfulness in summer entertaining. Try it once, and you'll understand why it was a party favorite, not just a side dish, but a cool conversation starter. Next, a dazzling picnic centerpiece that feels like summer sunshine in a single slice, coming right up. A quirky twist on tradition, Watergate Ham Salad brought sweet and savory into a single pastel-hued spread. Leftover ham was finely chopped and mixed with cream cheese, crushed pineapple, mini marshmallows, and sometimes a spoonful of instant pistachio pudding mix for color and flavor. The mixture was chilled until firm, then scooped onto crisp iceberg lettuce or spread between slices of white sandwich bread. It was creamy, salty, and tangy, with just enough sweetness to make it memorable. Perfect for Sunday brunches, potlucks, or patio lunches. It stood out on the table with its cheerful color and unexpected combination of ingredients. While the more famous Watergate salad lives on in dessert bowls, this meaty cousin has faded quietly from memory. Still, its strange charm is undeniable. One bite is like flipping through a vintage magazine ad. Bright, hopeful, and deliciously offbeat. Bring it back and let it spark curiosity, conversation, and maybe even a few surprise smiles at your next summer spread. In homes without air conditioning, summer cooking meant keeping the oven off, and marinating was key. One of the most inventive solutions? Sun tea marinated chicken. Families brewed tea by leaving jars of water and tea bags in the sun, then cooled it and mixed it with garlic, lemon juice, herbs, and a touch of sugar. Chicken pieces soaked in this mellow mixture for hours, tenderizing in the fridge while absorbing subtle sweetness and herbal depth. Later, they were grilled or pan-fried, the tea lending caramelization and flavor. Served with potato salad or green beans, it was a budget-friendly main course that felt thoughtful and homemade. Though modern marinades have gone bolder and bottle-ready, Sun Tea Chicken stands out for its simplicity and creativity. It didn't just taste like summer. It used the sun to make it. Bring this back and let nature help season your dinner the old-fashioned way. When the heat became too much for heavy desserts or baked pies, cold peach soup stepped in as a silky, refreshing finale. Ripe summer peaches were peeled, pitted, and pureed with a splash of milk, cream, or yogurt. A bit of honey, sugar, or lemon zest was stirred in for brightness. Served chilled in bowls or glass cups, this golden soup was smooth and lightly sweet, a cooling treat after grilled chicken or cold pasta salad. Some cooks added a sprig of mint or basil for flair. Others dropped in tiny melon balls or berries for texture. It was simple but elegant, turning peak season fruit into a showstopper with no stove required. Though modern palates lean toward smoothies or sorbets, peach soup once ruled late July suppers and summer luncheons. One spoonful and you're transported, barefoot on the porch, breeze in your hair, tasting something both luxurious and lovingly homemade. Next up, a pasta salad so simple and bold, it ruled picnic tables for decades until gourmet greens stole its spotlight. Before antipasto platters and Instagrammed charcuterie boards, summer meant simple Italian pasta salad. Elbow macaroni was cooked and cooled, then tossed with diced salami or bologna, chopped olives, sweet bell peppers, and a generous splash of bottled Italian dressing. Optional add-ins included mozzarella cubes, celery, or a shake of oregano. Chilled overnight, the flavors melded into a salty, tangy, satisfying side that held up beautifully at cookouts, picnics, and late-evening suppers. It required no stove time after the noodles were cooked and could be made in big batches to feed a crowd. Kids fished out olives. Adults appreciated its zest. As pasta salads became gourmet and overly complex, this retro version quietly faded away. But its charm still holds. It's quick, colorful, and perfectly balanced. Bring it back and serve it straight from a cold Pyrex bowl, just like Grandma did. No frills, just flavor, convenience, and a taste of midsummer joy. Which summery throwback would you serve tonight? Tell us below and tag someone who'd try it. This vivid green salad was once a fixture at every backyard picnic and church potluck. Lime Jell-O was mixed with cottage cheese, crushed pineapple, diced celery, and sometimes chopped nuts, then set in a mold and chilled until firm. The result was sweet, tangy, creamy, and crunchy all at once. Sliced and plated beside fried chicken or deviled eggs, it was more than a side. It was a conversation piece. Topped with a dollop of mayonnaise or whipped cream, it straddled the line between salad and dessert. Grandmothers prized it for being make-ahead and eye-catching. Kids giggled at the wobble. It was light, cold, and strangely satisfying, especially on steamy days. But with the decline of gelatin salads in the late 1980s, it quietly vanished from the table. Still, one bite brings back the gleam of Pyrex, the crackle of lawn chairs, and the quiet thrill of something sweet on the dinner plate. Lime JellO Salad was summer quirk and kitchen pride. This creamy slaw brought together shredded cabbage, sliced peaches, and a dressing of mayonnaise, sour cream, and a touch of honey. It balanced sweet and tangy flavors in a surprisingly refreshing way. Chilled before serving, it added a burst of coolness to grilled ribs, fried chicken, or pulled pork sandwiches. The cabbage offered crunch, the peaches gave summery sweetness, and the dressing tied it all into a bowl of pure southern charm. Occasionally, cooks added chopped pecans or poppy seeds for texture. It was a vibrant dish that felt like sunshine with every bite. Appearing at many cookouts and family reunions through the 60s and 70s, it eventually disappeared as slaws turned spicier and fruit left the bowl. But its charm hasn't faded, just been forgotten. Bring it back and serve it cold from a glass dish. It's not just a side. It's a refreshing reminder that summer cooking once celebrated sweet surprises. Coming up, a dinner so bright and lemony, it practically glowed on the plate. Bright and subtly fragrant, lemon rice Peeloff was the perfect warm weather dish when you wanted something light yet filling. Long grain white rice was sautéed in butter, simmered with chicken broth, and finished with fresh lemon juice and zest. Toasted almonds, parsley, or scallions were common additions. Served warm or at room temperature, it paired effortlessly with grilled shrimp, baked chicken, or cold roast beef. The lemon gave it a summery zing, while the buttery base kept it comforting. You'd find it scooped into bowls beside outdoor dinners, or spooned onto paper plates at family reunions. It was elegant but easy. No heavy sauces, no reheating fuss. As rice dishes shifted towards spice-heavy or globally inspired flavors, this simple, citrusy version faded from view, but lemon rice Peeloff still shines. Try it again, and you'll understand why it earned a quiet but steady place on mid-century summer tables. It's easy, bright, and undeniably golden. Before mango salsa became mainstream, fruit salsas like peach or watermelon were homemade marvels. Diced summer fruits were mixed with minced red onion, chopped cilantro, lime juice, and a hint of chili. This sweet and spicy medley was spooned generously over freshly grilled fish, typically tilapia, trout, or catfish. The contrast of smoky, tender fish and cool, juicy fruit was irresistible, often served on melamine plates under patio lights. It felt both exotic and entirely familiar. Kids could pick their favorite fruits, and the heat level was easily adjusted. As seafood trends shifted toward complex sauces, this backyard classic faded quietly, but it's worth reviving for its simplicity, beauty, and flavor punch. Plus, it's a clever way to use overripe peaches or leftover melon. One forkful brings back the rhythm of crickets, the hum of a box fan, and the way summers used to stretch endlessly. Fruit salsa didn't just top the meal, it stole the show. This chilled classic was made for summer days when turning on the oven felt criminal. Leftover chicken, often from a Sunday roast or market rotisserie, was shredded and folded into a mixture of mayonnaise, chopped celery, apple slices, and sometimes grapes or walnuts. Chilled in the refrigerator for hours, the flavors melded into something creamy, crisp, and cooling. Served on soft sandwich rolls, lettuce leaves, or even crackers, it became the centerpiece of countless porch lunches and garden parties. It was light, flavorful, and could be made ahead with zero fuss. Popular from the 1940s through the 70s, it was eventually overshadowed by deli counter versions and pre-packaged salads, but homemade icebox chicken salad had texture, freshness, and a sense of care that today's versions lack. Want to taste the way summers used to slow down? Whip up a batch, chill it well, and serve it under a shady tree. It's nostalgia, spooned and spread. Which of these retro summer dishes would you serve first? Share your pick in the comments. Before takeout containers and paper cups, gazpacho was sometimes served in edible bowls, specifically hollowed-out loaves of crusty bread. The cold Spanish-style tomato soup, made with pureed tomatoes, cucumbers, bell peppers, garlic, and olive oil, was ladled straight into the cavity of the bread. The exterior crust stayed firm, while the inner walls softened deliciously as the soup soaked in. Diners tore pieces of the bowl to dip and scoop, combining cold soup with chewy, tangy bites of bread. It was rustic, waste-free, and ideal for summer meals on porches or picnic tables. This clever presentation made the dish more filling and interactive, perfect for communal gatherings. As gazpacho became more refined and stylized, the bread bowl version faded from memory, but it remains one of the most satisfying and least fussy ways to enjoy a chilled soup. Bring it back with a crusty round loaf and a batch of homemade gazpacho. It's texture, nostalgia, and summer refreshment all in one. Before shrimp cocktails were drowned in red sauce, they were pickled, especially in southern kitchens. Boiled shrimp were cooled and marinated in a tangy brine of vinegar, lemon juice, garlic, dill, sliced onions, and spices. Left to chill overnight, the shrimp absorbed flavor and remained refreshingly firm. Served cold in glass bowls, or straight from mason jars, they made an elegant yet easy summer dinner. Some recipes added thinly sliced carrots or celery for color and crunch. The pickled flavor paired beautifully with saltines, corn on the cob, or chilled white wine. It was portable, didn't require heating, and lasted several days, ideal for beach picnics or porch suppers. As pre-made shrimp cocktails became supermarket staples, this homemade method fell by the wayside, but its bold, briny flavor and charming simplicity deserve a second chance. Want something bright, old school, and delightfully retro? Pickle some shrimp, pour them over ice, and serve with a fork and a paper fan. Smooth, rich, and pale green, chilled avocado soup brought elegance to otherwise casual summer tables. Ripe avocados were blended with buttermilk, lime juice, garlic, and a pinch of salt until silky. Some cooks added chicken broth or Greek yogurt for body. Garnished with diced cucumbers, shrimp, or fresh herbs, it was ladled into cold bowls and served with crackers or thin toast. Every spoonful delivered creamy coolness with just a hint of tang. Perfect for evenings when the air was thick and the house was still. Unlike guacamole, this soup was light and spoonable, a true summer first course or even main meal. Once common in 1970s cookbooks and hostess luncheons, it disappeared as creamy soups fell out of favor. But it's overdue for a comeback. No stove, no stress, just ripe avocados and a blender. Bring it back, and you'll see why it was once the go-to for effortless sophistication and sweltering summer days. Up next, a tomato-based dinner so simple and stunning, it doubled as centerpiece and entree. Tuna stuffed tomatoes were a dinnertime favorite for decades, especially when gardens overflowed. Large, ripe tomatoes were hollowed out and filled with a chilled blend of canned tuna, mayonnaise, diced celery, onion, and herbs. The contrast between juicy tomato and creamy tuna made every bite pop with summer freshness. Sometimes a boiled egg slice or parsley garnish topped each one. These bright red bowls graced countless plates beside corn, crackers, or green beans. It was no cook, highly nutritious, and wonderfully satisfying. For hot nights or quick lunches, it felt almost fancy without trying. Served on crisp lettuce or simple saucers, it looked like more effort than it was, an ideal combination. Over time, tuna salad retreated into sandwiches and convenience foods, while the presentation disappeared. But the stuffed tomato deserves another shot. It's eye-catching, efficient, and makes peak season produce the star. Dust off the melon baller, chill your best tomatoes, and bring this one back to life. Cottage cheese and tomato toast was the kind of meal you ate barefoot, standing at the sink, or perched on a porch step with a breeze blowing in. Thick bread, white, rye, or whole wheat, was toasted and spread with a generous layer of cottage cheese. Sliced garden tomatoes went on top, sprinkled with salt, pepper, and maybe fresh basil. It was open-faced, refreshing, and required no cooking beyond the toaster. High in protein, loaded with summer flavor, and ready in minutes, it was a staple for light dinners or late lunches. Sometimes a drizzle of olive oil or vinegar added depth. Simple as it was, it satisfied. It felt honest. As avocado toast rose in popularity, this humble combo faded quietly from view. But it still delivers everything you want on a warm day. Coolness, creaminess, crunch, and color. Which of these no-cook summer dinners deserves a comeback? Drop your favorite in the comments. Long before mason jars held smoothies and oats, they held stacked salads, especially this layered summer classic. At the bottom, tangy vinaigrette, then chopped spinach, crumbled bacon, sliced hard-boiled eggs, red onion, and shredded carrots. Tightly sealed and chilled, the jar kept everything crisp until dinner time. Once flipped onto a plate or eaten directly from the jar, the dressing coated the layers in savory, sweet, tangy richness. It was a perfect no-cook dinner for porch sittin', road trippin', or weekday evenings when stovetops stayed cold. The eggs added protein, the spinach brought greens, and the compact jar made cleanup a breeze. Originally praised in 1960s homemaker magazines as tidy supper solutions, it gradually vanished as fast food and packaged greens took over. But this salad deserves another moment, especially now, when simple meals feel fresher than ever. Grab a jar, a boiled egg, and your favorite vinaigrette. You're 5 layers away from a crisp bite of summer past. But next comes a hearty classic you could scoop straight from the fridge. A humble salad that fueled generations and tastes even better the next day. Cold lentil salad was the quiet workhorse of summer meals. Simple, filling, and endlessly adaptable. Green or brown lentils were boiled, drained, and tossed with diced bell pepper, red onion, parsley, and sometimes cucumbers. A vinaigrette of olive oil, lemon juice, salt, and black pepper tied everything together. Served cold from the fridge, it paired with crusty bread, grilled sausage, or fresh tomatoes. High in protein and fiber, lentils filled you up without weighing you down. This dish was a go-to for vegetarians and frugal families alike during the 70s and 80s. Its low cost and long shelf life made it a pantry staple, and its flavor deepened after a day in the fridge. But as trendier grains like quinoa and farro gained popularity, this humble salad disappeared. Yet its balance, ease, and adaptability remain timeless. Want a dish that feeds a crowd, holds up in heat, and tastes better tomorrow? Revive this forgotten bowl of flavor-packed practicality. Iced corn soup may sound unusual today, but decades ago it was a beloved way to beat the heat. Fresh corn kernels were cut from the cob and pureed with cream, a touch of sugar, and cold milk or broth. Strained and chilled, it became a silky, lightly sweet soup with golden color and sun-ripened flavor. Served in small bowls or teacups, it followed grilled dinners or preceded sliced ham and melon. Sometimes garnished with jalapeno, mint, or chives, it combined summer's best crop with cooling comfort. This was a dish you didn't rush. It sat in the fridge while the porch breeze blew and the lemonade pitcher emptied. It appeared in farmhouse kitchens and garden cookbooks, but vanished as savory chilled soups like Gazpacho dominated. But its mellow sweetness, creaminess, and simplicity still deserve a spot at the table. If you have fresh corn, don't just boil it. Blend it into a forgotten classic that tastes like golden hour nostalgia. Before charcuterie boards took over Pinterest, grape and cheese kebabs ruled the picnic table. Skewers were threaded with alternating cubes of cheddar or Colby cheese and red or green grapes, sometimes with a mint leaf or pineapple chunk in between. Served chilled, they were easy to grab, colorful, and fun to eat. These kebabs offered the sweet, salty contrast of fruit and dairy in a portable, portion-controlled package. Perfect for pool parties, birthday dinners, or roadside picnics, they required no utensils and zero cleanup. They were also a sneaky way to get kids to eat fruit. Appearing in countless mid-century entertaining books, they've since vanished under the weight of elaborate grazing platters. But their brilliance lies in their simplicity. Want an appetizer or light dinner that's fresh, fun, and fridge-ready? Bring back grape and cheese kebabs, and taste a summer where fun came on a stick. And for our final forgotten favorite, let's revisit the simplest dinner of all, where sweetness, softness, and silence ended the day. On the quietest summer nights, families sometimes served the simplest dinner imaginable: milk and honey sandwiches. 2 slices of soft white bread were spread with a thin layer of honey, sometimes buttered first, sometimes not. Served with a cold glass of milk, it was light, sweet, and deeply soothing. After long days in the sun, it was exactly what you wanted. No mess, no heat, just comfort. It wasn't meant to impress, it was meant to settle. Children ate them cross-legged on porches, adults with tired eyes, and the last sigh of daylight. It felt wholesome, gentle, and perfect for nights too hot to cook or think. As dining became more structured and nutrition labels more scrutinized, this humble supper faded, but its charm is undeniable. Want to end a day with peace? Recreate this edible lullaby. It's not just a sandwich. It's a memory, a moment, and a reminder that dinner doesn't always need a fork. Which of these gentle summer meals would you love to bring back? Share your favorite in the comments below.
I hope you enjoyed this journey through forgotten summer dinners. Which one reminded you of home? Subscribe for more timeless memories and vintage recipes that still warm the soul. Until next time.